Hey, I'm Patch Wills and this is my individual study for drama, Look No Further. I had the idea for Look No Further way back in 2009 when I was involved in a couple of other individual studies at another school, and that idea was two people who meet in a war and fall in love but inevitably die because of the circumstances that they're in. And I thought I could do it in the style of Baz Luhrmann's Red Curtain trilogy, so Strictly Ballroom, Romeo and Juliet and Moulin Rouge, because they're three films that I greatly admire, but also three films that I've analysed before as far as Baz Luhrmann's technique. And so the main thing that I was trying to achieve with this assignment was trying to take elements from those three feature-length films and use them to create my own 15-minute play. So after I had created my story, I knew that one of the main things I had to do was research, because I don't know very much about wars, but I knew that I had to find a historical event that I could fit my ideas into. And so a couple of my friends who are history students and my teacher gave me different ideas for wars, like the Bosnian War and the Warsaw Ghetto and Napoleon, and I went on and I researched those, but I eventually decided that I thought it would be more effective to have it not set in a particular war, not set in a particular era, but rather have this kind of notion of it being anywhere, any place, and that gives it this universal feel and that it's symbolic of all wars. So after the initial planning and research, I got into contact with people to try and play the roles in Look No Further, and I got in touch with my friends Petra, Bailey, Beck and Jess, and they play the roles of Laura, Lily, Amber and Scarlett respectively, and then I played the lead role of Edward. I then moved on to writing the script for Look No Further, the plot of which was based on Baz Luhrmann's three films, particularly Romeo and Juliet, the ending of which is parallel to the one I eventually used in Look No Further. The characters were something that I focused a lot on while writing the script because they're an integral part of all three films in the Red Curtain trilogy. And all three of those films tend to have these really big, bright, attention-demanding characters, like Strictly Ballroom has Scott's mum.
Did I fail him as a mother?
And Romeo and Juliet has Mercutio. And Moulin Rouge has Harold.
Invest.
And all three of these characters are kind of fun and entertaining, but they're also really important because they stir on the events of the play, and I knew I had to create a similar character in Look No Further, and that's where I created Lily.
Hey, I'm Bailey and I'm playing the character of Lily in Look No Further. Lily's character is pretty much just really boisterous and loud, and she stirs up everything in the play. Her role pretty much is to introduce Edward and Laura to each other, and she just doesn't want to sit down in a corner and be a sob like Edward in the side of the play. So she just wants to go out with a bang. So she's pretty much there for entertainment purposes. The first song I sing is Ricky Lee, Can't Touch This. So it's really contrasting from the first song of the show because it's all sad and dull and depressing, and then she comes on with this massive bang, so it just pretty much explains my character straight away. The other song I sing is Just Like Jesse James, and this one pretty much just tells the main character, Edward, to go screw himself, just let go and just do whatever, because she just doesn't care, and that you're pretty much screwed because we're in a war. And the third song is 22 by Lily Allen, and it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's just telling the story behind who Laura is.
The lead characters in Baz Luhrmann's films are always not bland as such, but much less exciting than the supporting characters. They're quiet and they're humble, and I think this really allows for Baz Luhrmann to explore romance and explore tragedy because they're people with real emotions, real feelings, rather than just all over the place like, the bigger characters. And I wanted to mirror this almost perfectly in Look No Further, and I created Edward and Laura. Edward, who I play in Look No Further, is a much more serious kind of character, and he's based on the three characters in Baz Luhrmann's film, so Romeo and Scott and Christian. He's originally very offended by Lily's interpretation of what's happening around them, but after Lily sings Just Like Jesse James, he comes to realise that they're the victims and that they're in this together. Lily then introduces him to Laura, who he's immediately infatuated with, and comes to realise that despite the hastiness of it, this is love. The songs that he sings are all sung in an attempt to further impress Laura, up until Laura's death, in which he then sings White Flag as more of an angry message to the enemy.
Hi, my name is Petra Szabo and I'm playing Laura in the musical Look No Further. Laura's character is humble and quiet, and she was inspired as a character by a lot of the female roles in Baz Luhrmann's films, such as Juliet, Capulet in Romeo and Juliet. The songs that I sing are representative of my character, Laura. For example, 21 Guns, it is the voice of reason, like she's trying to get Edward to understand what she's trying to tell him, and rather she doesn't want him to do and say what he's saying. Look No Further is the title motive song, and it is the main song which connects Edward and Laura, and it's, it has all of romance and loss and those themes sort of interconnected in them.
An idea which I had really early on in the development of Look No Further was to make the play a musical medley, much like Moulin Rouge. So we would intercut bits of songs into the dialogue, both to tell the story but also to reinforce the themes of the play in each song's lyrics and tone.
Hi, I'm Shay Martin and I am the piano player for Look No Further. So, Patch emailed me to, say that I would do it and gave me a list of the songs. So the first thing I did was listen to them many times with headphones, but a lot of them originally didn't really fit perfectly into the musical theatre genre. So particular ones like Can't Touch This, we had to change and workshop a fair bit, and I played maybe 3 different versions, and Patch said which way to do it, and we had to sort of adapt it for the style, and just because we have one instrument.
An influence from Strictly Ballroom was the idea to have dancing in Look No Further, and I chose Petra to choreograph these scenes.
Patrick also gave me the role of choreographer in the show for dancing, as I have a background in dance. When he asked me to choreograph the 2 numbers, he said that the first one should be an introduction to the 3 girl characters, other than Laura, and that one was more of a fun number, introducing their personalities. But as for the rest, so the dance between Laura and Edward, it was more of a sort of a romantic, but more like a beautiful, multicultural kind of feel to portray the fact that this musical was in a war, anytime, any place.
The overall design of the play was another really important feature. The costumes were designed to reflect each character's personality, and there was also some room to play around with the anytime, any place philosophy, in that the costumes didn't all have to belong to one particular era. Another thing that I spent quite a lot of time working on was the flag that Edward holds up at the end of the play. And the flag is meant to be symbolic of everything that war brings, so hate and fear and chaos. And I started by splattering red paint across a white sheet, and that was meant to represent bloodshed. I then spray painted on silhouettes of George Bush and Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden and Hitler, along with symbols like the crucifix and the Twin Towers and the mushroom cloud. So all these kind of strong political and religious symbols that I feel have caused a lot of violence, and I wanted the flag to be a protest against that violence. During the play, gunfire is heard 4 times, and 2 times this is just in the distance, whereas the other 2 times it actually affects the lead characters. And I found the sounds that I wanted and edited them a bit until they were perfect, and I also play strobe whenever these gunfires are heard. Most of the communication that occurred between myself and the rest of the cast happened over Facebook, which was actually a really good form of communication, because people could talk about their availability for rehearsals or any problems they were having developing their character, and we could discuss it together online. So it was actually a really efficient form of problem solving. We eventually had 3 rehearsals, all of which were held at the school, Glenunga International, in which we worked through the acting and singing and dancing and blocking of Look No Further. It didn't run as smoothly as I would have hoped because of the number of people involved and all their other commitments, but eventually we managed to work around it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy my individual study.